Kibutsuji Muzan reigned as the king of demons for about 1,000 years. He and his immense strength were unable to be stopped despite several generations of demon slayers, but it took just one error for everything to change. Muzan was unaware that by killing Tanjiro's family and transforming Nezuko into a monster, he had brought his worst dread back to life. Tanjiro himself was unaware that his family wasn't precisely typical. Even the Hashira were aware of the power they wielded. The golden age of demon slayers around 500 years ago is when it all started. This name was given because the Hashira at the time were the most powerful ever. Each of them had a demon slayer mark, the ultimate symbol of demon slaying power, and an indication of awakened skills. They were only able to grow this strong because of one man. Yoriichi Tsugikuni is the most powerful demon slayer to ever exist. Seriously, this guy had a unique build. He was born with a demon slayer mark. He didn't manifest that. He could see the translucent world as a baby. When it came into other living things, this essentially gave him X-ray vision and the ability to perceive things in slow motion. He quickly overcame a skilled swordsman when he was just 7 years old. That's absurd enough by itself. What if, however, I revealed that this was his very first time ever drawing a sword? Yeah. Before then, Yoriichi's twin brother used to look down on him, believing he was speechless and deaf. Yoriichi, meanwhile, just lacked anything to say. Despite his immense strength, he didn't much enjoy the thought of hurting other people, so he made the choice not to train to be a samurai. Yoriichi ran away from home when he was just 10 years old. And what's even more astounding is how he achieved it, because he did not stop running for a day and a night into the mountains and did not experience even mild exhaustion. To him, Tanjiro's training as a demon slayer would have been a piece of cake. After a little while, he met the woman who would become his wife. Unfortunately, a demon slaughtered Yoriichi's family while he was out looking for someone to assist with the delivery of his first kid, similar to Tanjiro. Although we are unsure if it was Muzan, he certainly screwed up if it was. The worst thing Yoriichi has ever gone through was this experience. He continuously clutched the body of his deceased wife for 10 days. He only stopped when the demon slayer who was pursuing the beast discovered him and persuaded him to support their cause. Fun fact, the demon slayer how persuades Yoriichi to join the demon slayer corps is a Rengoku's ancestor. In comparison to Yoriichi's distinctive sun breathing, flame breathing, and all the other early breathing techniques were poor imitations. Rengoku Sr. reasoned that Tanjiro was there to make fun of them with his superior skills. And listen, Yoriichi was more than delighted to teach those early demon slayers how to utilize sun breathing. The issue was that no one was qualified to utilize it. Even his identical twin had to create moon breathing, a subpar copy. Tsugokus are the apprentices that demon slayers often take on, so that they may teach their methods to them. However, Yoriichi invented the original fire, water, wind, stone, and thunder breathing methods rather than just teaching them. And the individuals who did the greatest job of picking those up were known as the Hashira. A demon slayer's breathing pattern usually complements who they are as a person, much like the colors of their swords do. A demon slayer will be closer to realizing their full potential the more similar they are to their preferred breathing style, and most Hashira still behave this way now. The love, Hashiri Matsuri, initially passed the final selection using flame breathing. But because love breathing worked better for her particular physique, she invented it. Of course, I'm referring to her unusual hair color and superhuman power. Yoriichi was the first demon slayer in a sense. He serves as the model. Even a wooden puppet of the man was built for training purposes. They gave this beast additional arms simply to come as near to Yoriichi's talents as possible because he couldn't train so many people at once. And the century-old puppet was just as powerful as a demon slayer with a high rank. There could have been more of these things, but you'll see why. They were probably all destroyed later in the anime. The demon slayers weren't much of a menace before Yoriichi. Muzan was at first interested in seeing if they were a real problem, but after they started using breathing styles, he grew curious. He wasn't impressed though, and rapidly lost interest after closer examination. But once he met Yoriichi, everything changed. Yoriichi believed he was destined to kill Muzan the moment he met him. Yoriichi completely destroyed Muzan by finishing the 13 sun breathing techniques. Unable to regrow, he is barely preventing his head to be severed. Here's where Muzan might have easily been killed. But first, Yoriichi was curious as to what Muzan thought a life was worth. But instead of responding, Muzan would rip his body apart violently out of fear and rage. In those milliseconds, Yoriichi was able to chop around 1,500 of the 1,800 pieces of flesh. Sadly, Muzan could regenerate with those few pieces left, so he continued to live after that. Yoriichi, the best demon slayer, horrified Muzan so much that he never appeared to him again and intentionally avoided light. After then, Yoriichi's life started to unravel. His identical twin turned into a demon out of jealousy for his sibling's superior skills. Muzan and Kokushibo set out on a mission to eliminate all sun-breathing users in order to prevent the practice from lasting through the years. Muzan was really compelled to alter his whole business plan as a result of this one incident. He let his minions handle everything instead of taking control himself, staying far away from the demon slayers. Because of this, the fact that Tanjiro saw Muzan in the crowd astonished even the Hashiras. Additionally, Yoriichi spared the demon Tomeo. Following these occurrences, Yoriichi's fellow demon slayers turned against him. He was expelled from the demon slayer corps, and some people thought he committed suicide. After that, Yoriichi found himself all alone and wanted to talk with someone. He then thought about Tanjiro's ancestors, whom he had once saved from a monster. Yoriichi told Sumiyoshi his story. Being as kind-hearted as future descendant Tanjiro, Sumiyoshi was extremely touched by it, and Yoriichi, the gentle swordsman, broke down in tears while they were together. Tanjiro's great-grandma composed a song that particular day asking to see his sword forms, so he showed them all 13 of them while Yoriichi was with them and their kids. First form, dance. With a single curve slash, the user moves their arm down. Second form, clear blue sky. The user rotates in a 360-degree slash. Third form, raging sun. To attack any approaching opponents, the user swings 2 big circles around himself. Fourth form, burning bones summer sun. To defend against frontal strikes, the user generates a swirling slash. Fifth form, setting sun transformation. The user does a backflip upward followed by a downward decapitating slash. Sixth form, solar heat haze. The user rushes with a sword that is engulfed in heat, making it impossible for the target to determine the length and position of the blade. Seventh form, beneficent radiance. The user leaps into the air and slashes upward in a whirling motion. Eighth form, sunflower thrust. A strong thrust that strikes with the blade's tip. Ninth form, Dragon Sun Halo Head Dance. The user executes a succession of swift cuts that may be used to decapitate several foes. In the 10th form, Fire Wheel, the user swiftly swings their sword in a circle to divide a target in half before flipping up behind the target. 11th form, Fake Rainbow. The user moves quickly enough to produce evasive after images that, even on people with extraordinary senses, are effective. 12th form, Flame Dance, a vertical slash that transitions into a horizontal one. And the enigmatic 13th form, the never-ending performance of the previous 12, which improves in accuracy and speed with each repeated usage. This form was expertly designed to annihilate Muzan and his 7 hearts and 5 minds. Now, Yoriichi had absolutely no intention of teaching the early Commodores how to do sun breathing, but Tanjiro's great-grandpa was so affected by Yoriichi's tale that he made the decision to always remember Yoriichi's extraordinary performance. The Kamados realized they would never see Yoriichi again when he handed them the Hanafuda earrings his mother had crafted for him as a youngster. Sumiyoshi promised to pass on Yoriichi's earrings along with sun breathing to the next generations. The Kamado family would reside as charcoal burners in the same place for hundreds of years. And for just as long, they'd perform and teach the Hinokami Kogura, a dance that taught every Kamado male sun-breathing in secret. In addition, if Tanjiro's 3 younger brothers had all lived, there may have been 4 sun-breathers. Tanjiro's father was extremely strong even though he wasn't a demon slayer. We're talking Hashira level here. Tanjiro decapitated a man-eating bear that was unusually large without even sweating. Even stranger is the fact that Tanjiro's father's illness wasn't even a sickness. He really had a demon slayer mark from birth, much like Yoriichi, and could see through translucent world. It is claimed that everyone who awakens the mark passes away before the age of 25, but that's not truly the case. It's what brought the golden age of demon slayers to an end. However, Yoriichi lived to be older than 80 years old. In any case, Tanjiro's father made sure to make the most of the time he had with his 6 children. However, he may have become the most powerful demon slayer since Yoriichi had he succeeded in becoming one. And even though his son Tanjiro was never the strongest, Muzan found his similarity to Yoriichi incredibly horrifying. Muzan eventually discovered that the Kamado family were sun-breathers and made the decision to personally look for them. Tanjiro's family weren't consumed though, unlike a regular demon assault. Instead, Muzan gave each of them a dosage of his deadly blood, which finally killed them in the hopes of producing a monster that could survive the sun that he could absorb. Because Nezuko was impervious to his control, unlike other demons, he was unaware that she was a demon. Even though she was never taught in the Hinokami Kagura as a Kamado, Nezuko ended up becoming a demon queen in her own right rather than Muzan's slave. Nezuko's blood demon art produces pink flames that only hurts demons descended from multiple generations of sun breathers. In addition to eventually gaining sun resistance, the Kamado family ceases to be your typical human family. Muzan would never have guessed that they could defeat his flaws if they had been ordinary people. Tanjiro and Nezuko both succeeded in conquering sunlight as demons. When a character in the universe of Demon Slayer is about to pass away, they could suddenly remember events from the past, perhaps even interact with people who have passed away. Tanjiro was able to remember and apply his father's advice against Rui as a result of this. Even Akaza, the third of the higher moons, had his head severed by him using the Hinokami Kagura. Tanjiro was making a lot of useless moves at this point, which reduced his ability to deal damage. However, Tanjiro encountered his ancestors' memories of Yoriichi when he was poisoned by Muzan, and this not only taught him how to utilize sun breathing more skillfully, but also the hidden 13th form. Tanjiro would readily acknowledge that his usage of sun breathing was far weaker than Yoriichi's or his father's, but Muzan was still quite irritated by it. The King of Demons wasn't too concerned because Tanjiro was still a young child and had just recently learned the finished forms. But the danger of Tanjiro's movement started to dawn on him when he understood that new forces were weakening and slowing him down. The development or alteration of a form, when it comes to breathing techniques, is a very difficult quest to pull off. Tanjiro, however, was able to do this by remembering Zenitsu's well-known thunderclap and flash move. Tanjiro created the dancing flash by combining this with the first type of sun breathing. He was able to move at incredible speeds to deliver a blazing slash by taking in large amounts of oxygen, boosting blood flow throughout the body and focusing it on the legs. And this was genius since both methods were the original expressions of the respective breathing patterns. Also, keep in mind that Yoriichi produced both of these. However, unhappily, it appears that flame breathing may be extinct in the future since Tanjiro's Hanafuda earrings have been put away and the tale of the Demon Slayers is now more like an antiquated folktale. Tanjiro's ancestors don't appear to be performing the Hinokami Kagura dance. It's not really necessary in a world without demons, but I think it should continue to be a cultural dance. It would have been awesome. You can also watch a ton of awesome Demon Slayer videos on this channel, and more are coming. If you liked the video, click and subscribe to the channel.